been slow today.
All
right, we're live, just so y'all know. What are you looking for?
There's a certain book.
Oh, I think he took it because I said he could. I'm sorry. I didn't think you had marked in yours. These are just classroom books. You can mark all you want, and you can take it if you want, but usually people just end up leaving them because they don't want the book. All right, I'm just recapping Act 1 that we've read. Macbeth is our protagonist. He starts out a good guy. He's a hero. He saves Scotland from the traitors of Scotland and from Norway. In honor of that, the king, Duncan, says, oh, you get to be the Thane. What's a Thane? The Lord. You get to be the Thane of Cawdor, because Cawdor was the betrayer, was the traitor.
Was Cawdor?
He's not a character you need to remember, other than he was a bad guy that got killed and got executed, and all of his property was given to Macbeth. Then
Is there supposed to be like a chart on here?
You have to make your own. But what you're looking, and I'll tell you in a minute, what that is. All right. So I'm just recapping. So then these witches appear before Banquo, who's the good friend and co-fighter with Macbeth. And the witches say, hey, Macbeth, you're going to be Thane of Cawdor. And guess what? You're going to be the king. And Macbeth's like, what? Who are these crazy witches? And Banquo says, what about me? And then we get into all these contradictions where the witches say, well, hey, Banquo, you're going to be less than Macbeth, but greater than. You're going to be miserable, but happy. You won't ever be king, but you'll be the father of kings. So we have all these predictions that are down. In the meantime, as we move into Act 1, Scene 4 or 5, I think, Lady Macbeth gets a letter from her husband, and we know that they love each other. He says it's his partner. They speak lovingly to each other, but she says, you know what? My man, he's a good man. He's a brave man, but he's not a crooked man. He's not a cheat. He's not going to do bad things. So I've got to kind of urge him on, because I want us to be king, because if he's king, I'm queen, and we're powerful. We're the power couple. So she's like, I got to talk to him. I got to get him on board for this. And he shows up, and he's like, let's just talk about this later. She said, look, be sweet when Duncan comes, because the king's coming to their castle. Be sweet, be nice, lure him in. As I said the other day, it's just like in Godfather. Keep your friends close and your enemies closer, because then you can hurt them. So that's where we ended at Act 1, and now we're Act 2. All right? In our books, page 49. Oh, let me tell you what you're looking for in your Google Classroom. So you've got to make a new chart with 5 quotes. You're looking for any quotes. See, are you with me? I mean, right? Okay. You're looking for any quotes that have to do with driving the story forward, making us better understand the characters, why they're doing what they're doing, anything that develops the tension of the story, okay? And then you're going to put the quote, just like I said, who says it, the line it's set on, what the quote is, and then what that is doing for the story, how it's moving the story forward. It's making the story more exciting. It's making us understand why Duncan is doing what he's doing, or why Lady Macbeth is doing what she's doing.
So 5 by 5.
It would be speaker, line reference, explanation, 4 by 5. Text box. It's 4 by 5. But probably the better thing for you to do is mark up the book, and then you can add it when I give you time at the end of class. And class ends, I'm so lost. I keep thinking today's Wednesday. I hate short days. Not 10:30, 10. Yeah, we have advisory today.
Are you serious?
Yeah. All right. Act 2, Scene 1. Enter Banquo Fleance. New character, Fleance. Fleance is the son of Banquo. What's going to be important about, what do we remember that I just said, what the witches predicted for Banquo? He will not be king, but he'll be the father of kings. So if Fleance is dead, how can the witches' prophecy come true? So here now suddenly we meet Fleance, the son of Banquo. Does that make sense? So Fleance is important if the witch's prophecy is going to come true. We can't let Fleance die. Okay? And Macbeth has figured that out too. Banquo says, how goes the night, boy? Cleon says. The moon is down. I've not heard the clock. The clock lets people know the time in the night. She goes down at 12. I take 'tis later, sir. Banquo, hold, take my sword. Here. He gives him his sword. There's husbandry in heaven. There are candles. Now, guys, none of this is significant language, and I like to teach in the significant language. So I'm going to read it from the easier No Fear Shakespeare. I really recommend that to all my students, but our school likes to use the harder language. So we're going to go to, it's going to be harder for you to follow along, but if there's an important line, I'll pause and tell you where I am and where it is in the script, in the play. Watch how much easier this is to understand. So Banquo says, how's the night going, boy? The moon set. The clock hasn't struck yet. The moon sets at 12, right? I think it's later than that, sir. Here, take my sword, Banquo says. The heavens are being stingy with their light. So it's a dark night. Take this, too. I'm tired and feeling heavy, but I can't sleep. Ugh. It's late. I've been riding all day. I'm in this castle, but I'm edgy. Merciful powers, keep away the nightmares that plague me when I rest. And then here comes Macbeth. And he's got a servant who's carrying a torch because they're, olden times. Give me a sword. Who's there? Macbeth says, a friend. You're not asleep yet, sir? The king's in bed. He's been in an unusually good mood and has granted many gifts to your household and servants. This diamond is a present from him to your wife for her boundless hospitality. So what do we know? The king is at Macbeth's house. The king is Macbeth's cousin. The king is the king. And he's nice. He's given them all like a diamond. He's given them all kinds of gifts and rewards. The king's being really good to Macbeth. And what's Macbeth thinking about doing to the king? Killing him. Is it right? It is right?
No.
Y'all are like, yeah, that's right. No, it's not right. All right. Isn't it easier to understand it in this language than in what you're reading? All right. Macbeth says, because we were unprepared for the king's visit, we weren't able to entertain him as well as we would have wanted to. Everything's okay. I had a dream last night about the three witches. At least part of what they said about you was true. Now, Macbeth's trying to play it off. I don't think about them now. But when we have an hour to spare, we can talk more about it if you want to, if you're willing. Banquo says, whatever you like. They're trying to be, because they're nervous. Like, what's going to happen? They know that the only way for Macbeth to be king is if Duncan dies. Macbeth says, if you stick with me when the time comes, there'll be something in it for you. What do you think that means? Macbeth says to Banquo, if you stick with me,
It'll probably make him higher.
He's saying, you can trust me, man. Help me with this murder. And when I'm king, I got you. Don't worry. And Banquo says, I'll do whatever you say, as long as I can do it with a clear conscience. Basically, I'll cover for you, but I'm not doing anything. I won't turn you in, but I'm not murdering the king. Okay? Macbeth says, rest easy in the meantime. Banquo says, thank you, sir. You do the same. And they leave. Macbeth calls to the servant. Go and tell your mistress to strike the bell when my drink is ready. Get yourself to bed. The servant leaves. Now, this is a famous, and I need to read it in the original because this is a famous speech that Macbeth is going to say. And I want you to hear it in the old language. He's kind of hallucinating. He imagines seeing a dagger. Do you guys know what a dagger is? A small, like a little hand knife. I mean, a big knife, a small sword, basically. Is this a dagger which I see before me? The handle toward my hand. Come, let me clutch thee. So he reaches at this invisible, like he's hallucinating. He reaches at it, but his hand just goes through. I have thee not. And yet I see thee still. Art thou not, fatal vision, sensible to feeling as to sight? Are you real or are you not? Or art thou but a dagger of the mind, a false creation, preceded from the heat oppressed brain? I see thee yet, in form as palpable, I mean, as much as I can touch you, as this which I draw. And he pulls out his own dagger, his real dagger. So what's happening? He's having a discussion in his head. He's fantasizing about, should I take this knife and kill the king? He's struggling. It's like when you guys are trying to decide to do something right or wrong. And it's that inner struggle of you see it all played out in your head. Maybe like when you're thinking about a good baseball hit, a good swing. Oh, Cardinals were out. I mean, the old news, but my dad was so disappointed. He's been wanting the Cardinals to go to the pennant for years and years. Anyway, not important. But when you're sitting there thinking about a play, a football play or a baseball swing, or I don't know what you think about baseball as much, and you're playing it in your mind, you're seeing your stance, you're seeing you're at the line of scrimmage, you're seeing the play that the coach has taught you, you're running it in your mind, right? It's not real, but sometimes you can get so caught in that moment, you can really see the play like it's a video, right? That's kind of what's happening to Macbeth right now. Here's the knife. I just need to take it and knife him. And he's a soldier. He's killed people before. So why is he struggling with this?
Well, I think one of the things is he's been promised something that's like really high and good for him. That he wants to do it. I guess from a soldier standpoint, since he's been it's like he's been almost like ordered to do it.
Yeah.
Basically.
So he doesn't have to think about it. He's just following orders and he's protecting what he's loyal to. Yeah. So think about what I just said. Who's he been protecting? The king. His job as a soldier has always been to protect the king. The king's good to him. It's his uncle. It's their family. And now he's sitting here going, I'm going to go murder this guy. So now it's not being a soldier. It's murder. And so we're seeing his guilty conscience play out. Okay. So he says, thou marshallest me the way that I was going, and such an instrument I was to use. Mine eyes are made the fools of the other senses, or else worth all the rest. What I'm seeing is making me like I'm hallucinating. I see thee still, and on thy blade and dungeon gouts of blood, which was not so before. Now the knife that he sees in front of him is covered, dripping in blood. There's no such thing. It's the bloody business which informs thus to my eyes. It's my own conscience seeing this, what I should do, telling me what to do. Now, o'er the one half world, nature seems dead, and wicked dreams abuse the curtained sleep. Witchcraft celebrates pale Hecate's offerings. Now, she's going to be a character that we don't have on our character sheet. She's the head witch. We haven't met her yet. She's going to come later. But there were the three witches, but they have a boss witch, and that's her, who we just mentioned. And withered murder, alarmed by his sentinel, the wolf, whose howls his watch, thus with his stealthy pace, with Tarquin's ravishing strides towards his design. And that's a historical allusion, not important to the story. Moves like a ghost. Thou sure and firm set earth, hear not my steps, which way they walk, for fear thy very stones prate of my whereabouts, and take the present horror from the time which now suits with it. Whiles I threat, he lives. Words to the heat of deeds too cold breath gives. So he's saying, while I'm talking about all this, he's still alive. Talk's not going to do anything. I've got to go do this. And I need to do it sneaky. I need to be quiet. I don't know what he's doing over there. He has a headache, huh?
Probably.
You got a headache there, Em? Are you able to pay attention? And so the bell rings. That's the wife calling him back. Remember, that's his signal. I go, and it is done. The bell invites me. Hear it not, Duncan, for it is a bell, knell is what the word is, that summons thee to heaven or to hell. Whoa, dark and evil. So he's like, all right, I'm committed to it. I'm going to go do it. And he leaves. Scene 2. Here comes Lady Macbeth. She says, now let's go back to reading the normal. Does that confuse you or help you to read the normal?
I can't follow.
Yeah, you can't. That's right. That's why I'm asking, would you rather me read it in the other?
No, this one's not.
All right. So Lady Macbeth is in her chambers and she says, the alcohol that got the servants drunk has made me bold. So she's been drinking too. The same liquor that quenched their thirst has fired me up. Listen, quiet. That was the owl that shrieked with a scary good night, like the bells they ring before they execute people. Remember, we looked at nature last act. Nature keeps cluing us into bad things are coming. The owls in this time period were very superstitious. They were bad luck, like death is coming with an owl, and an owl is screeching in the background. And all of the audience knows the fear, so it makes it creepier. Ooh, that owl's out there, and they're like, oh man, bad stuff's coming. Macbeth must be killing the king right now. The doors to Duncan's chamber are open, and the drunk servants make a mockery of their jobs by snoring instead of protecting the king. I put so many drugs in their drinks that if you can't tell if they're alive or dead. So what has happened for them to execute this execution?
She drugged like the guards or whatever.
She drugged the guards, exactly. And they're passed out. And so then then Macbeth can sneak in and murder the king. And she's been nipping at the alcohol too. So she's like all hepped up. And Macbeth is off stage. Who's there? What is that? Lady Macbeth says, oh, I'm afraid the servants woke up and the murder didn't happen. For us to attempt murder and not succeed would ruin us. Oh man, we're in trouble. She hears noise. Listen to that. I put the servants' daggers where Macbeth would find them. He couldn't have missed them. If Duncan hadn't reminded me of my father when I saw him sleeping, I would have killed him myself. Do you remember how she talked yesterday? Oh, you're a wimpy man. You're not strong enough to do this. I'm going to take care of everything. She's all tough, right? And now when the moment she went in with the daggers, but he looked like my daddy sleeping there. I couldn't kill him. So she was all talk. And when it came down to it, she's like, Macbeth, you need to do it because I can't kill my daddy. Right? She kind of betrayed him a little bit. And so here comes Macbeth, and he's got bloody daggers in his hands. My husband, Macbeth said, I've done the deed. Did you hear a noise? I heard the owl scream and the crickets cry. Didn't you say something? When? Just now. As I came down? Yes. Listen, who's sleeping in the second chamber? Donalbain, in another room. Looking at his bloody hands. Oh, this is a sorry sight. That's a stupid thing to say, she says. One of the servants laughed in his sleep, and one cried, murder, and they woke each other up. I stood and listened to them, but then they said their prayers and went back to sleep. So the actual murder doesn't happen on stage. The audience doesn't see it, so he's got to retell everything that happened. Lady Macbeth says, Malcolm and Donalbain. Who are they? Who are Malcolm and Donalbain? What do you remember? I know you always looked at where I drew it on the board, but it's not there anymore.
Those are like the two
sons.
Yeah.
Good. Two sons of Duncan. They're sleeping in the same room. Macbeth says, one servant cried, God bless us. And the other replied, Amen, as if they'd seen my bloody hands. Listening to their frightened voices, I couldn't reply Amen when they said, God bless us. That's our first hint that he has remorse. He feels guilty. He couldn't pray. God bless us. Lady Macbeth, don't think about that so much. The very woman that said, I couldn't do it because he looked like my daddy. Don't think about it. Now she's back to being tough again. Macbeth, but why couldn't I say amen? I desperately needed God's blessing, but the word amen stuck in my throat. We can't think that way about what we did. If we do, it'll drive us crazy. I'm going to make sure that what's done can't be undone. Let me just look real quick. Yeah, we're good. All right, so Macbeth says, I thought I heard a voice cry, sleep no more. This is a famous line. Macbeth is murdering sleep. Innocent sleep. Sleep that soothes away all our worries. Sleep that puts each day to rest. Sleep that relieves the weary labor and heals hurt minds. Sleep, the main course in life's feast and the most nourishing. What are you talking about? Lady Macbeth has no use for all this guilt and remorse. The voice kept crying, sleep no more, to everyone in the house. Macbeth has murdered sleep, and therefore Macbeth will sleep no more. His guilty conscience is rattling him. What happens when you're worried about something? You can't sleep, right? They say an innocent person sleeps like a baby. But if you're guilty, you know you're about to get into trouble. You're worrying if there's going to be a drug test, and you're, doing all those things. It all comes back to drug testing. Then you're anxious all night long. Oh my gosh, I'm worried. I'm worried. Huh? See, doesn't it feel good to be clean and sober? So you can't sleep. And so that's what he's talking about. It's guilt. It's not that he can't sleep. This is all showing us he feels really guilty already about what he's done. He has remorse for it.
Has already happened, right?
He's dead. Deader than doornail, Duncan. Bloody, bludgeoned him with the knives. And then the drunk servants kind of stir when they hear all the ruckus. And it makes it, and he's, they call out, God bless you. And he's like, I can't say amen. Oh my gosh, I'm covered in blood. What have I done? He is guilty. Lady Macbeth said, who said that? Why, my worthy lord, you let yourself become weak when you think about things in this cowardly way. Go get some water and wash this bloody evidence from your hands. Why'd you carry these daggers out of the room? They have to stay there. Go take them back and smear the blood, smear the sleeping guards with the blood. They're trying to set it up so it looks like the guards did it. Macbeth, I can't go back. I'm afraid even to think about what I've done. I can't stand to look at it again. Coward. Give me the daggers. Dead and sleeping people can't hurt you any more than pictures can. Only children are afraid of scary pictures. If Duncan bleeds, I'll paint the servants' faces with his blood. We must make it look like they're guilty. And off she goes. So now she's going to go in and put the knives back and smear she's going to have to touch the dead body, get his blood on her hands, smear it onto the servants, make it look like they did it. Everybody connected to what we're doing? Like, what's happening? All right, then we hear a knocking off stage. Macbeth says, where's that knocking coming from? What's happening to me that I'm frightened of every noise? And he looks at his hands. Whose hands are these? They're plucking out my eyes. Will all the water, this is a famous line. I need to read it here. Will all the water in Arabia. They plug out my eyes. I'm on page 59, line 78. Will all great Neptune's ocean wash this blood clean from my hand? No, this is my hand will rather the multitudinous seas incarnadine, making the green one red. All this blood's going to turn the oceans red. And here comes Lady Macbeth back. My hands are of your color, but I shame to wear a heart so white. I hear a knocking at the south entry. Let's go to bed. Retire we to our chamber. A little water clears us of this deed. How easy it is then. Your constancy has left you unattended. Another knock. Hark, more knocking. Get on your nightgown, lest occasion call us, and show us to be watchers. Be not lost so poorly in your thoughts. Let's get in our night clothes. Let's get in our pajamas and look like they're waking us up, that we were sound asleep. Macbeth, to know my deed, 'twere best not know to know my deed, 'twere best not know myself. Wake, Duncan, with thy knocking. I would thou couldst. And they exit. All right, this next scene, we go until, we've got time. This next scene is something we call comic relief. So I want you to think about scary movies. Are y'all scary movie watchers?
Never seen one of them.
Oh, liar.
Oh my God. I've seen it.
All right, so
Long movies.
I don't watch them, but I know kind of the formula. I don't watch them because I have such an imagination. I'm scared all night and I can't sleep.
Facts.
I dream.
I had a dream last night and I thought the dude was staying right.
Creepy. I don't want to be like Macbeth who can't sleep at night. So a typical formula is this comic relief. In these formulaic scary movies, everything's always at night. There's always creepy noises. There's always darkness. You can't see everything. The camera lens is, you don't know who's out there. Like you only see one portion of it and you're sitting on the edge of your seat like, you can't breathe. You can hardly breathe. Maybe you're grabbing somebody or the seat next to you. You find you've got the popcorn in your hand because you're in the theater and you're like, you're wanting to eat, but you're not moving. Oh, that's how I am. That's why I don't go. It just makes me so tense. The point is the tension really, really builds, right? And then the horrible, bloody thing, he jumps out and scares everybody. It's awful. Oh, it was the goober, goofy guy just trying to scare us. It wasn't the murderer. We all laugh at ourselves. We're like, oh, it's all okay. Do you know what I'm talking about in this scene? Like they lead you to this really scary, scary moment, and then something stupid happens where they played you. All right? That's comic relief. And it's to help relieve the tension. So now the audience has just seen this. They haven't seen the murder, but they've seen it in their own minds. This horrible murder, this blood, this awful stuff. And the audience needs to take a breath. They need to be like, oh, that was tough. So we have this famous porter scene. A porter is like a gatekeeper. And what I want to tell you is it's not going to be funny to us, but to the audience back then, it was hilarious. This porter's doing his job. He's supposed to be protecting the castle, but he's drunk as a skunk, and he's pretending in his drunkenness that he's the gatekeeper to hell. All right? And so he's talking about all the people he's letting into hell. Now, remember when I taught you the introduction of Shakespeare, one of the things that was so important about Shakespeare is he would make commentary that the common people, like he would make fun of the wealthy. He would make fun of the religious. And the common people, those groundling people that paid their penny to sit on the very first level of the Globe Theater, they were drunk and having fun, and this was their way out. So this scene is for them, and they kind of make fun of all the people that are superior to them. So for them, it was like a comedy routine that's about to happen. For us, it just feels like a big interruption in the story. And what I'm about to read has nothing to do with the story. It's a technique to help the audience relax and to kind of win the audience over to his side. And I'm going to read it in the more modern because it really doesn't make sense in the old for us. So it's called Comic Relief. That will be on a quiz or test. What is comic relief? What is the purpose of comic relief?
To like get almost like the audience and like the dude.
To get them high, expecting, and then give them something stupid.
Yeah, to relax a little bit. Right. All right, so here's our porter, and we've heard all that knocking. We know, and now the porter's back to that same knocking, knocking that we've heard before, but he's drunk, remember? There's a lot of knocking. Come to think of it, if a man were in charge of opening the gates of hell to let people in, he'd have to turn the key a lot. You know, the gatekeeper at hell is busy. A lot of people are going to hell. Knock, knock, knock. You're going to be in charge of the knock, knock, knocks. Knock, knock, knock. No, you're not, because you're not paying attention.
Who, me?
Yeah, but you're not paying attention, so there we go. Who's there in the devil's name? Maybe it's a farmer who killed himself because grain was cheap. Hey, he's talking to an imaginary farmer. Hey, you're here just in time. I hope you brought some handkerchiefs. You're going to sweat a lot in here. He's drunk, funny. Thinks he's funny. Knock, knock, knock. Who's there in the other devil's name? Maybe it's some slick, two-faced con man who lied under oath, but he found out that you can't lie to God, and now he's going to hell for perjury. Come on in, con man. And everybody's laughing. Oh, funny drunk guy. Y'all are just staring at me like I'm crazy, but I want you to understand they think it's funny. Knock, knock, knock. Who's there? Maybe it's an English tailor. The Scots always made fun of the Englishmen. Maybe it's an English tailor who liked to skimp on the fabric for people's clothes. But now that tight pants are in fashion, he can't get away with it. Come on in, Taylor. You deserve to be here. You can't heat up your iron up in here. I woke you up, didn't I? All right, knock, knock, knock. Man, never a moment's peace in hell. Who are you? This place is too cold to be hell. I won't pretend to be the devil's porter anymore. I was going to let someone from every profession into hell. So basically the commentary is people are out there living their life cheating, and he's talking about the common people. You know, you guys know who you are. Y'all are all doing wrong. Y'all are all cheating. Welcome to hell. And he's making fun of them all. Now we have the knocking again. I'm coming. I'm coming. Please don't forget to leave me a tip. And the porter opens the gate. In come Macbeth and Lennox. They were some of our guys from before, not important characters, but just part of the king's entourage. Macbeth says, "Did you go to bed so late, my friend, that you're having a hard time getting up now?" The porter, "That's right, sir. We were drinking till 3 a.m. And drink, sir, that makes a man do 3 things." This is a famous commentary on drinking. It's going to be a little inappropriate. I always think it's funny when very conservative parents are like, "Oh, don't watch that movie. It's naughty. Don't read that book. It's bad." And then, "Oh, let's read Shakespeare." They're all pro Shakespeare. Shakespeare is very naughty, and we're about to have a little naughty passage here. He says, drinking does 3 things. Drinking turns your nose red, it puts you to sleep, and it makes you pee. Lust, it turns on, but also turns off. It says it makes you horny, but you can't do anything about it. What I mean is, drinking stimulates desire, but hinders performance. Therefore, too much drink is like a con artist when it comes to your sex drive. It sets you up for a fall. It gets you up, but it keeps you from getting off. It persuades you and discourages. It's Shakespeare, guys. I have it. I'm just reading what's in the book. It gives you an erection, but doesn't let you keep it. If you see what I'm saying, it makes you dream with erotic experiences, but then it leaves you asleep, needing to pee. And Macduff says, so this is all look, you're laughing. It's comic relief. It did exactly a minute ago. We were looking at murder and death and blood, and now we're all just laughing uncomfortably, right? That's comic relief. I believe drink did all of this to you, man, last night, he says to the porter. It did, sir. It got me right in the throat. But I got even with drink. I was too strong for it. Although it weakened my legs and made me unsteady, I managed to vomit it out and laid it flat on the ground. Is your master awake? They're done with him now. And Macbeth comes in. Our knocking woke him up. Here he comes. Good morning, noble sir. Good morning to both of you. So they're outside the castle. Macbeth has come down from his room. Is the king awake, worthy thane? Not yet. It's early morning. He commanded me to wake him up early. I've almost missed the time he requested. I'll bring you to him, Macbeth says. I know the burden of hosting him is both an honor and a trouble, but that doesn't mean it's not a trouble just the same. Macbeth says, the work we enjoy is not really work. This is the door. Macduff. Macduff is going to be important. It sounds like Macbeth. I don't know why we have to have these same names, but Macduff is going to be important. Macduff says, I'll wake him because that's my job. And Macduff goes into the house in the bedroom. Lennox asks, is the king leaving here today? Macbeth says, he said he told us to arrange it. Lennox, the night has been chaotic. Now that goes back to that nature thing. There's been all kinds of storms going on. The wind blew down through the chimneys where we were sleeping. People are saying they heard cries of grief in the air, strange screams of death, and terrible voices predicting catastrophes that will usher in a woeful new age. The owl made noise all night. Some people said that the earth shook as if it had a fever. Macbeth said, it was a rough night. Lennox says, I'm too young to remember anything like it. I've never seen anything like this night. And Macduff enters and he's all upset. Horror, horror, horror. This is beyond words and beyond belief. What's the matter? Look at Macbeth playing all innocent. Macduff says, the worst thing imaginable has happened. A murderer has broken into God's temple and stolen the life out of it. So he's making a metaphor there. Macbeth, what are you talking about, the life? Lennox, do you mean the king? Go into the bedroom and see for yourself. What's in there will freeze you with horror. Don't ask me to talk about it. Go look and then do the talking yourself. And Macbeth and Lennox go to see. And Macbeth is just acting like, putting on. Wake up, ring the bell. Murder and treason, Banquo and Donalbain, Malcolm, wake up. Shake off sleep, which looks like death, and look at death itself. Get up, and look at this image of doomsday. Malcolm, Banquo, get up from your beds as if you were rising out of your graves and walk like ghosts to witness this horror. Ring the bell. A bell rings and Lady Macbeth comes in. Innocent as can be. What's going on? What's this terrifying trumpet calling together everyone who's sleeping in the house? Speak up and tell me. Macduff says, oh, gentle lady, my news isn't fit for your ears. If I repeated it to you, it would kill you as soon as you heard it. And here comes Banquo. Banquo, he turns to Banquo. He doesn't want to say it to Lady Macbeth. The king has been murdered. Bum, bum, bum. All the tension has risen. Lady Macbeth, oh, how horrible. What, in our house? Oh, I'm so innocent. Why, Lord, to do? How did this happen? Banquo says, it would be a terrible event no matter where it happened. It's not just your house, lady. He's dead. Dear Macduff, I beg you, tell us you were lying and say it isn't so. Here comes Macbeth and Lennox. And they've got Ross with them. Macbeth says, again, so innocent, if I had only died an hour before this event, I could say I'd lived a blessed life. Because from this moment on, there's nothing worth living for. Everything's a sick joke. The graceful and renowned king, this good king, is dead. The wine of life has been poured out, and only the dregs remain. Everything's awful. Malcolm, the sons come in. Now they know their daddy's dead. What's wrong? You are, but you don't know it yet. The source from which your royal blood comes has been stopped. What a crazy way to say your daddy's dead. The source of your blood. Who's the source of your blood? Your father and your mother, right? He's dead. Your royal father is murdered. First answered of the son, who did it? Lennox, it seems that the guards who were supposed to be protecting his chamber did it, their hands and faces all covered with blood. So were their daggers, which we found on their pillows, unwiped. They stared at us in confusion. No one's life should have been entrusted to them. Macbeth says, and yet I still regret the anger that drove me to kill them. So Macbeth then, the drunk guys are waking up to see what's going on. And Macbeth, in his rage, what does he do? He grabs the knives and kills the two servants. Was that a good move? You say no. Why? Why wasn't it good? Why do you think it was a good move?
You killed the only two that were near.
Could have explained what was going on, yeah. And he did it in front of everybody so he could say, I just got crazy with rage. I couldn't stop myself. And they're dead. And now the only people that could have spoken against him are gone, and he's got all the suspicion off of him. Pretty clever. He said, Macbeth said, Macbeth says, what'd you do that for? Is it possible to be wise, bewildered, calm, furious, loyal, and neutral all at once? Nobody can do that. The violent rage inspired by my love for Duncan caused me to act before I could think rationally and tell myself to stop. There was Duncan, his white skin all splattered with his precious blood. The gashes where the knives had cut him looked like wounds to nurture itself. Then right next to him, I saw the murderers dripping with blood, their daggers rudely covered in gore. Who could have restrained himself? Who loved Duncan and had the courage to act on it? Lady Macbeth, she wants to get the attention off him. She's like, fainting. Oh, help me out of here quickly. Take care of the lady. And so Malcolm says that where only Donalbain can hear, their brothers are talking to each other. Why are we keeping quiet? The two in this manner. Donalbain says, what are we going to say? What are we going to say here? Where danger may be waiting to strike at us from anywhere. Let's get out of here. We haven't even begun to weep yet, but there will be time for that later. We don't have time to think about our daddies. We're goners. If they killed my dad, they're after us too. Why? Because they inherit the throne. And whoever killed the dad was trying to get the throne. They figured that out. So they're like, we got to get out of here. And they run. They run. And Banquo says, take care of the lady. Lady Macbeth is carried out. It is time to stop. It's a good stopping point. So a lot of action, and you should be able to put some things in your chart, but that's for all of Act 2. So you don't have to do it for homework. Tomorrow I'll give you time in class. All right. Thanks for reading along. Don't forget to subscribe, ring the bell, go see my poll and answer it, and I'll read to you next time. See ya.